Welcome back to our online classes on Java. Today I will be introducing Java AWT, that is Abstract Window Toolkit. This is the graphical programming package for graphical user interface programming package of Java. AWT was introduced into Java long ago. Nowadays we have better and lighter classes like a Swing, which is actually built on top of AWT, available for graphical user interface programming. Still, it will be better to learn how AWT works to see how Java handles graphical user interface programming. Today's course objective is to learn the basic GUI programming using AWT. This can be considered as a visualization of some of the controls of Abstract Window Toolkit or AWT. The outer window is what we call a frame. A frame has a title, it has a minimize, restore, close button, and there are some other controls also which are contained inside the frame. The first is a text field, then we have a label, then we have a command button, then we have a checkbox, there is a text area. All these are simply AWT controls. This is the class hierarchy of AWT. The main class of AWT is what we call a component, and every other class is in fact derived from this component. There are classes corresponding to some independent controls like a button, label, checkbox, choice, list, etc. And there are some other classes which are of some special interest, because these classes, container, window, panel, frame, dialog, these classes will facilitate GUI programming using AWT in a beautiful way. This is again another visualization of some of the AWT classes. Again, we have the outermost window, which is actually we call a frame. The frame has the title bar and these controls. The frame can contain other controls. There is another set of controls grouped together, and that is what we call a panel. This panel contains a label or a static text and a text field, and this label contains three different command buttons. The difference between a panel and a frame is that a frame contains a title and some other button controls, but the panel doesn't have any of these. Now we learn details about the classes of special interest, and we know that component is the outermost class, or that is the parent class at the highest level. Then we have a child class called a container, and then the container has two child classes. The first is window and second is panel, and window has a child class called frame. Component class is in fact an abstract class, and it defines public methods for event management, positioning and resizing of window, repainting, etc. In fact, every kind of GUI activity has been defined inside the component class, and all the child classes which are inherited from component will have to override these methods, and only then the GUI programming or the AWT programming will be possible in Java. And the component class is again capable of remembering foreground and background colors, and currently it's selected text font. In short, the component class is responsible for every kind of GUI activity. Then we have a child class of component called a container, and as the name suggests, it contains other controls. In fact, a container can contain other containers also, and it allows other component objects to be nested with it. A container can store other containers, and it is responsible for laying out any container it contains. And it is because of this container class that Java is able to have its own layouts, and this is actually facilitated using its layout managers. Then we have a class called a panel, and you may be seeing this class in a number of occasions because this is a concrete class, and this panel implements container. And as we have seen earlier, a panel is a window that contains no title bar and menu bar and borders. We have seen in our previous class diagram that applet is a subclass of panel. Then you might be disagreeing with me that you have seen the menu bar, title bar and borders in an applet, but that is because we were using applet viewer for displaying an applet, and applet viewer is an external program, and that adds all these title bars, menu bars and borders to the applet. If you display the applet in a browser, you won't be seeing any of these features for an applet. Other component objects can be added to a panel using its add method, and the examples we will see in coming sessions. Then we have a special class called window. Window is still an abstract class, and it actually creates a top level window. It is not contained inside any other object, and normally windows are created using frame, a subclass of window. So the frames child class will implement the methods of window to make it possible that Java programs or Java applications will run inside a window. We have already seen that a frame is a window having a title bar, menu bar, borders and resizing corners, and that was the difference between frame and panel. So these are the classes of special interest in the case of GUI programming using AWT. We had component, we had containers, we have window and panel, and then we have frame. And other than this, we have normal controls like a button, list box, text area, text field, etc. Now coming to this frame, because as we are concentrating more on GUI programming, frame is the one that we will be using in a number of different occasions. We will be using frames and we will be using panels, and we have already seen that some of the GUI programming using applets. Even though those were simply primitive, applets actually opened a GUI for us, and applet is in fact implementing the methods of panel. And similarly, a standalone application, if it is GUI based, it will be implementing the methods of frame. And some of the methods of frame are set title, set background, set foreground, set size, set visible, set layout, add, etc. So the methods are simply evident from the name itself. So let's do an example. Write a Java program to create a frame as below. So the frame is a very simple one. It has a title called my frame, and somewhere inside the frame it is written this is a frame, and the frame has this minimize, restore, minimize, maximize or restore and close buttons. On clicking this close button, the frame has to be disposed. That is the program that we are going to do today. So let's create the Java program. the name of my class is in fact my frame application, and before that, whenever we are doing any kind of AWT program, we have to import the package java.awt.star. And here what I am trying to do is to create a basic frame having the title my frame and having all the controls. So what I do is I create my main method, that is public static void main string args, and here I make an object of frame. Maybe I write something like a frame, say f assigns new frame, and here I am giving the title, that is my frame. Now I need to set the size of my frame, maybe f dot set size something like a 500 comma 500, and finally I need to make sure that this frame is visible, that is f dot set visible. I am setting this to true. That is my basic program. This is a frame, that statement, that sentence on the frame, that we will add later. Let's compile and run this thing. So java c my frame application.java. So that compiled successfully. I am running that java my frame application. So there is a frame window has popped up. The title of the frame window is my frame, and this is in fact a stretchable window. We can see this thing. The minimize button is in fact working, and the restore, maximize and restore buttons also are working. And what about the close button? It is not really working at all. The close button is not at all working. This is because I have it told this frame window what to do when I press the close button. The other buttons like minimize and maximize or restore buttons, they are simply the default buttons, and the close button also is the default one, but here I need to say the frame window what the different actions are to be taken when this close button is pressed. So whenever a button is pressed, it actually creates an event, and we need to have some event handling mechanism to override the default functionality. At present the default functionality is nothing at all. To override the default functionality of this close button pressing event. So how can I come back to my program? What I can do is I can just press a Ctrl C here, automatically it will be closed. Now coming back to the program, this was my frame. That's here I was using the standard frame in Java, but my frame has to be an extended one. The extension is that it will be able to handle, it should be able to handle the close button press event. So instead of making an object of simple frame, what I do is I make an object of an extended frame. So what I do is I make a class, say my frame, which actually extends frame. And this class my frame needs to have some kind of event handling mechanism, and what kind of events that this my frame has to handle, that will be the window events. So I need to add some extra window event handling functionality to my frame. So to handle the window events, we have a special class called the window adapter. So I am adding the window adapter. I am making the window adapter class here. We are not really simply making the window adapter class, but again we are making an extended class which is derived from window adapter. So what I do is class, say my window adapter. This actually extends window adapter. and whenever I am using using event handling in my program, I need to import the package java.awt.event.star. Okay, now the window adapter or the my window adapter class, this should in fact override the method on window closing. And okay, what I can do is I can simply override the on window closing public method here. Public on window closing, and it is actually expecting an object of window event, some WE. And on window closing, what I need to do is I need to make the visibility of this my frame object to false. That is the only thing I need to do. Or anyway, I need an object of, I need a reference to this my frame class inside this one. So what I do is I make a reference of my frame as member variable here, maybe my frame mf, and I make a constructor here, my window adapter, and here it will receive an object of my frame, maybe mf. So what we are doing here is we are assigning this reference which is passed to this constructor to the member variable, that is this dot mf assigns the one that is passed, that is mf. So this is how I need to make my constructor. So now here when on window, or in this function, this method on window closing, I have a reference to this my frame available, that is mf, and this one I make invisible, that is set visible false. This is what I will be doing. Now coming back to this my frame class, it has to register this my window adapter as the event handling class for this window closing event. So this we can do in its constructor itself. So my frame, and maybe here we are passing a title also, so string some title. Here what I am doing is this title is made as the title of the frame, or simply what I can do is I can call the constructor of the parent class. So super title. Now I have to make an object of this my window adapter class. Maybe adapter assigns new my window adapter, and this is expecting an object of my frame. It is actually expecting a reference of this my frame class, and the reference of the present class is nothing but this. And now I need to assign this adapter object as the event handling mechanism for my window event. So add window listener adapter. Now one more thing that I need to modify is, here I have been using an object of frame, but now I have an extended frame, or I have a better frame class. So that is what we call my frame, and here I write new my frame. This should work. This should be able to handle any kind of window event, and the only window event that we are expecting is the close button. So when we press the close button, this my window adapter class the on window closing function of this my window adapter class will be invoked. That is how we have written here, add window listener adapter. Adapter actually belongs to my window adapter. So the on window closing function of this my window adapter class will be invoked, and here what it is doing is it will set the visibility of mf to false. And what is actually mf? Mf is the reference to this my frame. So that is what we are expecting. Let's compile and run this program. So once again it is Java say myFrame application.java. So it says invalid method declaration, return type expected at public void also has to be there. I simply wrote public void. So we compiled it successfully. Let's run that. Okay, again this the same frame has been invoked. So what I can do is I can try pressing this button, close button. Still it is not really going. The reason behind this should be, okay, let's close this and come back. Oh, I had made a mistake here. It was not really on window closing, it was simply window closing. That was simply window closing, and that is why this statement didn't get executed. So let's compile this one and execute this one again. Okay, the window popped up again, so let's try closing this one. Okay, it goes. But the thing that you might have noticed here is even though the window is closed, the program is not the program has not ended at all. That is because the window is still there in memory. We have just made its visibility to false. To close this program again, I press this Ctrl C. Now the only thing that remains is to print this is a frame window in our frame. So what we do is here we add the paint method. So it is public void paint some graphics G, and here what I do is this G, I call this G.drawString. This is a frame window, and I need to specify the location where the string has to be printed. I type it like 100,100. So let's compile and execute this one again. Okay, now you can see this is a frame window here at the location 100,100. When I press the close button, it automatically goes. I need to press the Ctrl C again. Now I can even extend this program to maybe to change the title of the frame window from my window to your window on pressing on clicking or somewhere on the frame itself. So what I can do is I need to have an extra adapter, that is the mouse adapter somewhere, and I need to register the mouse adapter here itself. So here I have the window adapter, and I am simply adding the mouse adapter. So class mouse adapter, my mouse adapter maybe. This extends symbol mouse adapter, and everything proceeds as in the previous case. So I am copying this code to my new class. So again I need a frame, and here the constructor is, instead of window adapter I have mouse adapter. And here the method that I am overriding will be public void. Here it was window closing, here it is mouse clicked, and instead of window event I have mouse event here, mouse event some me. What I have here is when the mouse is pressed, what I do is I change the title of the frame to your window. So what I do is mf dot set title your window, and this is how the mouse adapter class works. So I register the mouse adapter class here. So instead of my window adapter I have my mouse adapter, maybe m adapter I write, mouse adapter, since new my mouse adapter, this, and add, instead of add window listener I have add mouse listener, m adapter. So let's see whether this one works or not. I compile the program, that runs successfully. I run the program. Okay, as in the previous case I have my frame, this is a frame window. I click on the frame window, in fact when I click on this window nothing actually happens, so I might have made some mistake in my code. So let's close this one and come back to the code to see what exactly the mistake I did. So this was the one, public void mouse clicked. Oh yeah, this m should have been small case, so this is the correct one, mouse clicked. So let's compile and execute this one. Okay, so here I have my frame in the title, so when I click it turns to your window. So I close this button, and this is how we add the different listeners to the listeners to this program. I can have as many adapter classes and as many listeners registered possible in this program. This is a general framework. This is a general framework in which we do the GUI control handling. Here we have done the mouse control handling and we have done the window control handling. One more thing is that we can very easily convert this to an applet. So here I had where was my main program? Yeah, here it is. Here it was class my frame application. So if I want to make this an applet, I simply make this public class my frame application extends applet. And instead of this public static void main, I have the init function. Public void init, and here I simply make my frame f assigns new my frame this thing. Okay, and one more thing is that I need to have a import java.awt.applet.star. Okay, let's compile and execute this one. Now java my frame application.java. Is the error, it shows java.awt.applet does not exist. So yeah, it is in fact java.applet.star, not really java.awt.applet, it is simply java.applet. Okay, let me compile it once again. It compiles, and now to run this I use applet viewer, my frame application, I needed to have some extra piece of code to make applet viewer run this program. So what I do is applet code assigns my frame application, height assigns some 500 or maybe even more 600, width assigns again 600. I close this applet tag, and finally I enclose these tags inside a comment. Okay, now I compile and run this program. It compiles. Now applet viewer, my frame application .java. Yeah, now you can see this thing. Here is the outer window actually belongs to the applet, and the inner window is our frame. So if I click here, yeah, the title changes to your window. Now I can close this one. It one goes, and I can close the applet window also. Now I don't have to press an extra Control C, because applet viewer will take care of the entire life cycle of the application. So this is the basic program that we have done to show the AWT event handling and AWT controls, AWT frames in Java. And this was the question: write a Java program to create a frame as below, and we did that. Hope you understood the portion clearly. For any question, please contact me, and thank you for your patience once again. Thank you.